October 11th, 2016 at 6:35 p.m. We are in room 207B of the music building. I am here with Shelby Shull, accredited teacher and violinist. My name is Becca Saffier. How are you doing today?
Very good. How are you, Becca?
I'm pretty good. So question number one is, what have you struggled with the most as a musician?
Well, for me, there are a lot of struggles. Starting out at a young age, I think it differs. The struggle starts with, what do I need to become to get better? Mm-hmm. So it would be like basic fingerings and learning how to hold a bow and positioning. My biggest struggle, though, my weakness has been performance anxiety. So getting in front of crowds has always been something I struggle with. I've gotten good at hiding it, but it is something that scares me every time I get on stage.
Mm-hmm. On a lighter note, who is your favorite composer?
My favorite composer would have to be Bach. I do love Bach. I listen to him on YouTube a lot, not only when I'm running, but whenever I study. I always look at the Best of Bach playlist by Halligan on YouTube. It's pretty good. You should check it out. Favorite piece by him is probably Air on the D string. It's a very light, airy piece, and it makes you feel like you're floating on clouds.
All right. To whom do you give the most credit for your involvement in music?
That would be probably my high school orchestra director. I give a lot of people credit, but to him the most, because he not only mentored me as a teacher, but also he became the role of a second father in the times where I lacked one. My father is a great man, but my orchestra director helped guide me in a lot of things towards college that sometimes weren't getting addressed, and he was always there for me to go to at school when I had an issue, or if I had a question about something, whether it was academic related or real world related.
It's good to have something like that, especially in high school.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years with music?
10 years, I really want to be at a school teaching, whether it's elementary, middle school, or high school. I love music, I love children, so it seems fitting to end up there, but in 10 years especially, I'd like to be at a relatively large-sized school teaching in an orchestra.
Mm-hmm. No. At what point was it that you made the wonderful decision to pursue music as a career?
Well, that would have to be my sophomore year of high school, I believe. I was a little bit lost as to where I wanted to go following high school, and a lot of my friends had already figured that out for themselves. They wanted to be chemical engineers or doctors or businessmen and women, and I had no idea. I just knew that I liked to play the violin, and I liked to stay after school and help out some of my friends when they were struggling a bit. So it was after one of our rehearsals, I stayed a little bit later, and I was talking about it with my teacher, and we were going over some music with one of my friends, and I was helping a little bit, and he was like, you'd be a great teacher, and that's when I was like, I guess I wouldn't mind teaching. I'd never considered teaching before. I never wanted to be a teacher, but that was really when it hit me that that's what I wanted to do.
On that note, what all do you aspire to achieve in your career?
I aspire to be a lot of things. I hope to teach at a secondary education school as an orchestra director full-time, not an assistant or part-time. And I might get placed as a choral director, which I wouldn't mind, but orchestra director, definitely. Following that, I really want to advocate for music when I'm a little bit older and they need some fresh people in. So once I find someone to replace me, I'd like to pursue an administrative level for music, so maybe as a music administrator on their board.
Mm-hmm. I understand you were not always the coolest cat in front of audiences. How did you learn to manage your performance anxiety?
Well, it took a lot of coaching from not only my teachers, my like my directors, but also from support through family and friends that I played in front of before I had a performance, who listened to me and critiqued me a little bit. It's a lot of being prepared that is important before you go before an audience. And I realized I wasn't prepared at one point. It's hard to humble yourself to get to that point, but I think you have to in order to get over your anxiety or to deal with it in some way. So performing in front of friends certainly helped, because my peers were the people I wanted to impress, I guess. And I wanted my parents and family to be proud of what I'd accomplished. So kind of a combination of both, and also lots of preparation. That has really helped me. I did also watch a lot of yoga videos, and I started doing yoga, and exercise has always helped me get over my nerves.
There must be so many pieces you have performed during your career, so this next question may be slightly tricky. What is your favorite solo or orchestral piece you have performed, and why?
Probably I'm going to have to answer with two. One of them is Finlandia. That piece, it's by Sibelius, I believe, and it's a very beautiful orchestra piece. I played it my senior year of high school, and no, it was my junior year. Take that back. It was my junior year of high school, and my orchestra director was really excited about it. It was kind of a gamble because we had a lot of new people in our orchestra that year, and we lost a lot of good seniors, so it ended up going really well. And the background of the piece has always really stuck with me because Sibelius wrote that piece for his country, kind of, and it's become their unofficial national anthem, and it's a source of pride for them, and a lot of the accomplishments that they have accomplished as a country. And it's just a really beautiful piece about nature and the country in Finlandia. On the other hand, the solo piece I like the best would have to be Thais. It's from the opera Thais. It's a violin solo, and it's about this woman who has just lost her significant other, and the separation that has really hurt her, and how it's just deeply wounded her. And you can really hear that in the solo, which I like, that there's that much emotion. You can feel it whenever you play it on the violin, and the intensity it always rattles my brain because it's just so profound, and listening to it always rattles my brain as well. But just having that kind of connection with a piece and being able to perform it to an audience makes it my favorite solo.
Nice. I've never heard of that, so I'll have to look it up. You have such a busy schedule. Where do you find the time to practice and between performances?
Any practice helps. I've tried to condense it down to just a few little lessons whenever I have time. If it's 5 minutes, it would be focusing on just one measure of a song that's maybe more difficult. If it's 15 minutes, it would be a couple measures, or even a few, like Cole or on the bow. That helps. There's a few exercises that you have to really focus on in your piece to help you, and if you don't have an exercise lined up, there's always scales. It's just anything that you do as a violin that really helps you perform, in fact.
In your opinion, what benefits does music have for us?
Well, music offers a lot for the world. It connects, in general, I'll start broadly, it connects communities, cultures with music. We have world music from many other different cultures that I know are not Western, but we appreciate, and we've grown to like those because of the sounds and the different, I guess, instrumentation behind those that we've come to appreciate. I guess the best example I could give would be like African music. I I think it's the drumming, the percussion is such a huge thing there that we've really incorporated into like our marching bands and big orchestrations.
Oh yeah, that sort of music has influenced American music so much.
Yeah, exactly. And individually, music has been proven to benefit the human mind. It just offers that emotional connection that you don't often get sometimes. It just electrifies you, and it gives you something to be passionate about in a lot of cases. And there's a song for everyone. Everyone has a piece that makes them feel special or makes them respond to it in a certain way. And while there may be languages and cultural barriers that separate us, there is always music that will connect people.
Very nice answer. I do have a few additional questions. I am no violinist, I'm a violist actually, so. But I understand the importance musicians place on their instruments. So I have always wondered to what extent having a more expensive violin makes a difference.
It makes a big difference, I would say, to a certain extent. It's $1,000, a couple $1,000 of differences. I don't think people understand how expensive violins typically are. I know I didn't going in, and my parents didn't understand the importance of it either. The quality of the wood really influences the tone and the vibrations that come out of it. The strings especially, those are very important in playing. They can run from hundreds to thousands of dollars. Strings, like there's gut strings, for example. They can be made from like any animal's guts that don't last very long, but their sound is just very, very sweet. You could get cheaper steel strings that aren't so good, but they will last longer. Certainly the pegs make a difference with the ease of tuning or untuning an instrument, and your bridge, if it's really soft, it's not going to hold your strings that well. And the shoulder rest especially. If it marks on the wood, that can create a dissonance whenever the sound is traveling across the instrument. So I've heard anywhere from, like, a good estimate is $3,500, and that's an average violin. If you want to get good, it's got to be in like $6,000 up to $10,000 range for violins, and that doesn't even go into bows.
Oh yeah. If you could pursue anything other than music, what would you pursue?
Probably English, maybe. I might like writing. I like writing poems in my spare time. I like teaching English as well, but maybe outside of the teaching spectrum, I've always enjoyed politics. As messy as it is, I've really wanted to advocate for others. Just kind of what I want to teach, because I want children to have a voice and to have a passion for what they're doing and being allowed to do that in the arts program. So maybe politics, and politics kind of runs in my family, so I've had a bit of experience in campaigning, and I would want to make a difference in others' lives in a positive way, and I could do that through campaigning probably.
Nice. Can you tell me about the book you are currently reading on performance anxiety?
Yes, I have it right here with me. It is by Jennifer Johnson, and it is called What Every Violinist Needs to Know About the Body. And this book is a lot about technique and how to get comfortable, not only for yourself with your confidence, but physically when you're playing your instrument. There's a lot of incorrect ways that children are taught to play the violin, or even adults, and this goes over each and every little tidbit of information, starting from like how to hold your hand, your posture, how to hold your thumb at a 90-degree angle, how to keep your back straight when you play. And it prevents a lot of, she goes over how it prevents a lot of unnecessary hospitalizations, I guess, when you get older, or things that would cause you to need surgery or something, like for your back, or for your arm even. Just a
So
lot
many
of
risk things.
Yeah, like stress fractures that you would get in that. It's just very in depth, and it also has a small portion on performance anxiety. And she says that for performance anxiety, the best thing you can do is be prepared. And she outlines this for teachers as well, that your student has to be prepared. And if they are not comfortable in front of an audience, they need to practice constantly, and not just practice going through the whole piece, but to slow down and focus on each little piece of information. And through preparation, she asserts that will give the student enough confidence to then practice getting over their anxiety.
So would you recommend it for other musicians?
I would. It's been very helpful for me. I did not know some of the things in here. I didn't know some of the certain positions that you were supposed to follow. As far as posture goes, I've been instructed on posture, but it really hasn't been a main focus throughout my career. It's always been a push on music, and there's been a small focus on posture, but I really wish they would give this to many people starting out. I think it would just help them so much more in their playing.